to what's going on at ZESCO with our guest economist, Lubinda Haabazoka, joining us via video conferencing. Good morning and welcome to the Diamond Breakfast.
Good morning and thank you very much for having me.
All right, now, Mr. Lubinda, the Minister of Energy has mentioned that there will be no increments in electricity tariffs and connection fees. Should the government even be considering an increase in electricity tariffs and connection fees? What is your take on that?
Well, when you look at electricity prices in Zambia, maybe when you compare the tariffs with Europe, we might appear to have cheaper tariffs. But when you compare Zambian tariffs to the income of citizens, you are going to find that electricity prices have become pretty expensive. I don't know those that are in the income of say 3,000 kwacha, 2,000 kwacha, how they are managing to cook beans, to own appliances like heaters, geysers, and so on and so forth. Because at minimum, people now are spending around 2,000 kwacha per month on electricity. Now, when you look at such, costs of electricity, the impact is very huge on both households and industry. Energy is a major cost component in production. So, for a developing country, we should not actually be looking at the price of electricity from the perspective of it being even cost reflective. We should be looking at energy prices from the perspective of wanting to, make energy as cheap as possible, so that we are able to provide electricity in 100% homes in Zambia. At the moment, we are standing at 32% only of the country connected to electricity, and we cannot talk about access to clean energy, access to food and so on and so forth, if there's no power. And the reason why even our agricultural sector is falling is that there's no power. Now, I've heard you have mentioned aspects of cost reflective. Honestly, I don't understand why we need to even engage USAID and whoever to come and say, let's do a cost of study, for our power. We don't know how much ZESCO spends in costs per month. We don't know how much power we produce. The answer is very easy. Costs, first, the cost of running ZESCO, and versus the price at which we sell electricity. That is going to give you the answer. We don't need to even engage a lot of, if you are spending certain amount of money versus certain amount of power that you are producing, you can just say, okay, per kilowatt of energy produced, we are spending so much money in cost. You don't need to. That answer can be given to you by an accountant within a minute. Mm-hmm. Maybe when they're looking at where they can reduce the cost, maybe that's what we should be talking about. But also the accountant will be able to tell you, if you look at the financials, you are going to be able to see that maybe, there are labor costs, the cost of, generating electricity, the cost of spare parts and, fuel. All those costs are able to be consolidated by an accountant. Unless we are seeing that the ZESCO never produces a balance sheet, unless we are saying ZESCO doesn't have a profit and loss statement or income statement, unless we are saying that ZESCO doesn't have a cash flow statement. But if you have accountants that are able to produce those financial documents, then why should we even embark on a serious study? We can just say, okay, this is the cost and this is the revenue, and then we say, okay, where is, if the tariffs are not cost reflective, if there's so much cost versus the income or the price is small, is the the revenue from the sale of power is less than what. And we say, where is the cost? Where can we cut down on the cost? These brothers and sisters of this Republic of Zambia is a very easy question to answer, but we normally get lost in terminology, and we need to also ask, why is electricity today expensive than yesterday? Kaunda built hydropower stations. In the last one he constructed was in 1975, meaning in 1979 somewhere there, meaning the capital expenditure was very high at that particular moment. So as the years moved on, we paid the financing cost, meaning ZESCO's capital expenditure reduced. We were only looking at CAPEX reduced, OPEX, operation costs are the one that remained dominant. What has happened in the last 2 years? Our capital expenditure has increased because we are adding new hydropower stations. So the costs have gone up. That's why they are saying, okay, to be able to repay financing costs, let's increase the electricity.
Now, Dr. Haabazoka, another thing that comes up here, and this has been brought to light, especially with the conversation around the connection fees, with the cost of having these things done according to ZESCO. For example, with the connection fees, the hike hasn't happened since about 2005, and they're relying on prices for the connection materials for then. And a similar argument coming in even for tariffs, that if the adjustment does not take place, this will affect their delivery as ZESCO. The service delivery will be poor, and they need this. They need the prices to be cost reflective for the benefit of the Zambians as well, so they have better delivery of service. So, with that point being raised now, should all these things also be considered on behalf of ZESCO? Their argument being considered?
You know, I've looked at the proposed rates. You know, if a country makes eggs, that is its main strength, the whole country should be able to consume eggs very cheaply. Now, what am I saying? When you look at ZESCO, ZESCO's most important thing when it comes to connection is the copper cable and the meter. Meter, when you look at what goes into it, it's very rudimentary to a level whereby they should just get a meter, give it to a school of engineering or at Unza or CBU or wherever, to say, can you look at this and reproduce it so that it becomes cheaper? That's one. Two, the copper cable, Zambia mines copper. If Russia has oil, and oil at the moment in Russia costs 50 cents per liter, that's what I'm telling you the truth. So it's in Russia, it's costing something like 7 quarter per liter because they have it. Then in Zambia, copper cables should be cheap. That's one. Then two, you do not pass on the costs of connecting somebody. The whole cost, you can't. What you do is, when you have structured your fees, because what is our aim? Our aim is to develop. Now, if you're asking me to pay 6,000 kwacha to connect to ZESCO, how many Zambians are going to connect to ZESCO? How many people will be able to afford? Because we should not be looking at, no, you afforded to build the house, then you can connect. We are looking at taking power to the villages. To the villages, we are looking at taking power where there's a hut, a mud house. It's possible. In South Africa has shown you that you can take power into a shack. Now, are they able to afford 6,000 kwacha? But the way we should do it, you make affordable connection fees. Then in the tariffs, as in the long run, there's just a component that goes to, for example, to maintenance and to the cost of whatever producing, so that you stagger it. Maybe over a 3-year period, you just add to the electricity energy for a new connection. Then people are paying slowly. That way you make it affordable. As it is, if you put that 6,000 kwacha, and you should let's not lie to each other. Even if we put it at 20,000 kwacha, ZESCO will never be connecting within a day. they will not. We are Zambians, you know. I've lived in this country for over 4 decades. I know what Zambians are. Whether you put the 100 pin, all the same, it will be taking 3 years to connect. So let us not use justifications of no, we want to be connecting quickly and what. Please, there are people that are waiting to be connected for the last 15 years.